Hey guys, this is Iamvanguard's podcast here with Gabe, Domino Paris, Chris, and then Anthony.
Heyo.
What's up?
Heyo, guys.
Alright, so since Chris and Anthony, it's your first time, starting with Chris, why don't you introduce yourself, like what decks you play, what format you play, and, well, obviously we're all from the same locals, right? So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, hey guys, my name is Chris. For standard, I mostly play Dark States, but secretly I'm a Dragon Empire guy for standard. Whereas in premium, I play all of Dark Zone, and I play Nubatama and Murakumos.
You play all the cancer decks.
They're not really that cancer. They're fun decks.
He plays
Sure,
the
Nui's not cancer? Excuse me. Never mind.
It's fun.
That's a lot.
I mean, fun for him.
Anthony, why don't you say hi?
Hey guys, my name is Anthony. For standard, I play let's see, Blackmire and a few other Dark Zone deck and a little bit of Brand Gate, like Orphis Mask. I do play Varga, but
Wait, you have
not
a
much
Varga
more.
deck?
Yeah, I have the Varga deck
Oh, you
from
do
set
have
one.
a Varga deck, yeah.
Yeah, you do have a Varga deck. That's kind of
I just never upgraded it because I'm not spending $30 per copy for a.
Wait, hold on. That new card is $30?
No, it's from set two. The Canary set.
Oh, you never got it?
Yeah,
The Monk, yeah.
Those
yeah,
are like
I meant to buy it when it was
$5.
$8.
No, they're
I
not
don't
$5
$8.
anymore.
Where have you been, bro?
Those are like
I meant to buy them when they're $8.
Yeah, well, they're not.
I forgot. Unreleased, they were 20, so I was like, I'll wait for a bit. They were 8, and I was like, I'll buy them later, and I forgot.
They're like more now.
They're
Yeah,
30. They're $30-something.
I mean, they were 50
Yeah.
earlier. Like a few months ago, they were
I was
50.
gonna say at this point you might as well just sell that deck, and people will pick it up for good money.
I want to play Risatsu though.
Oh, fair.
Risatsu though. Okay. And for premium, I play Chaos Breaker and
Like his icon that you guys see on the video.
I also play Glendios just for cope. For
God.
V premium, yeah. I still play Omega Glendios.
Yeah.
Hey, auto win.
Yeah.
We are all bling bros in
Actually,
here.
yeah, we all four of us play Blank the Mire.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Mhm.
Bling bros, let's go. Anywho.
I mean, that's why I also play Yotsuba for the auto win.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Worst girl, fight me.
Damn.
Hey, I like Miku, okay? Hey, I like Miku.
Okay,
Damn.
alright, we're cool then.
Yeah, I like Miku. Alright.
Alright.
Okay, so let's talk about the tournament results actually. We had two tournaments. One was in Japan, one was in Seoul, where me and Chris is from, right? The Korean lands. Let's talk about Seoul first because we're Koreans and fight me.
All right.
So I think generally they do a top 8 list, is what I observed with like the Korean tournaments. So luckily for us, it's really simple. From my knowledge, I know that the Korean people follow, they use Japanese cards, I believe. So they don't have a separate Korean translated card anymore. They used to.
Oh, they changed it. Okay.
Yeah, they only run Japanese cards now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know it until recent, when I was like researching cards. So, looking at the list, first place was taken by Leo, Odium. Second was Black, which that's a deck that Gabe really likes.
Yeah, Wellster Black, I think it's really good.
And surprisingly, in this meta, Luard.
Wait, Luard topped?
Yep.
Yeah.
He got
Third
30
place,
here.
and then Raziel in fourth. Varga fifth, Levy Dress sixth, Varga seventh, and then another Raziel in eighth place.
Yeah.
So kind of expected results, right? Like
Yeah.
Honestly though, it was more surprising that Leo Odium was first versus the other decks, but Black was the one that played against Leo and lost basically. So I have a feeling that Black probably played like the ward and cooked it early game, and then Leo like happened to survive against Raziel and just like made the top 2, and then Black just like cooked Liel before it can do anything. But then Liel like
Yeah.
hit like a miracle heal or something and just got him back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these matchups, like these matchups that probably went on in top 8, and everything kind of happened as expected. I would think that Levy Dress, there'll be more Levy Dress here, but then again, top 8, it's really hard to determine what happened with leading up to top 8. But
Yeah.
everything that we think should be up here is up here. Luard is kind of the surprise, but I think Luard is kind of like
Luard's
a
been
really
actually
good.
doing really well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
It
good
actually got
rogue
the
deck.
yeah.
It's a good
It
rogue
got the
deck.
promo
like,
actually.
Oh, you talking about
Yeah.
the grade 3 order card or whatever not?
Yeah, that's
But
the
they're
newest thing I'm
yeah,
noticing.
they are running it. Yeah, they are running it. It saves them a counterblast, I believe, right? Yeah, it
Yeah, it's
saves
just
them a
energy blast
counterblast
3.
cost.
It gives them a lot of power, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives them a little bit more punch because
This
I
is
mean,
the
Luard was
hostage
still
build, I
a
believe, right?
yeah. I think they changed up this engine.
Yeah.
So it has a little bit more punch to kind of keep up with the meta because as we said with set 5, once we get to set 5 and later, it becomes a like get to turn 4, like everyone gets to turn 4, but then turn 4 is where the game really takes off
Right.
like immensely. So
Mhm.
Luard can still naturally keep up with its defensive features, but now it has some punch to kind of keep up.
So me
But
personally, I'm thinking because I don't know how in Korea they run their tournaments. I know in Japan they have a hard time for their tournaments, but I wonder if they don't do hard timing because all the decks that top were like long stally decks.
yeah, I'm not sure if the tournament structure is anything different. I would assume it's all the
Yeah.
same, but
Yeah, I assume to be the same.
Yeah.
yeah. I would think it's all the same. It's just, I mean, once in a while you will see some like these rogue decks, top. But like we said with Luard, I mean, Luard is not the same Luard as we know now. So it can play a lot faster as far as being able to close out games faster. And
Oh, actually,
yeah,
looking at the Liel list, one thing I did notice that is actually going to be huge factor between our meta and the meta Japan is that they have the Shenri, the Dark State Shenri. So that's probably
They
why
do.
Liel's flowing a lot better because of
yeah.
the Dark State Shenri.
I mean, that card is, I think, definitely a missing link with a lot of Dark States deck, like Blandemeyer included.
And that's
That
also a
that card,
$50 card when it comes out, just letting you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
that card alone is game changing for like pretty much any Dark States deck for the most
Yep.
part. I know
I-
Blandemeyer. I'm looking forward to playing it in Blandemeyer, but yeah,
Throwing a jet
yeah,
for sure.
Odium is going to
Hopefully it's
be
a plus
hella
factor.
expensive.
Yeah.
Hella expensive to build from
Well,
scratch.
luckily I have all the pieces. So
Well, no, it's not just the pieces. It's like the main core that's going to come out.
yeah, I have the main core as well.
Oh yeah, you ordered, right?
Oh, I already have a split for set 5. I have all the
Yeah.
other cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Odium's going to be really expensive though. And
So,
then I
Yeah,
want to
Odium's
see
gonna be
this.
expensive.
I want to see this one odd black deck that decided to kick in and made. I mean, we know what black does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it's solid. I mean this guy probably did really well against all these decks, and I think black is not a bad idea in a meta like this because I feel like that black is probably the quickest attacker out of the 8 decks that are shown.
It gets triple
It's-
drive as well,
Yeah.
if I recall.
Yeah, it gets triple drive. It's a consistent deck. The deck sets itself up on its own, and compared to the regular like Blitzarm Welstra, it doesn't require as much to work with. So you're not going to get like flooded with products, most of the time with your hand. And the setup is so simple. Just get a maximum in there and get Lubetzel in there, and that's it. There's only really 2 products you need to worry about, and you only need to get 1 maximum in there. And it really just like it's very self-sufficient. So
Yeah.
I even said even with Welstra in general, like once they can get set up and get everything going like turn 3 and later, the deck is very underrated. It's just a lot of the times other decks like in the meta can just either hit harder or faster than the Welstra before they can kind of get set up. But Welstra Black, I mean, I'm a big fan of this. I personally like this the most between Black and Blitz Arms.
And then 2 Raziels out of the 8, so definitely Raziel and Varga, actually.
Yeah,
Raziel's
Varga.
consistent.
Yeah, like with the Varga and Raziel, like between like Varga, Raziel, and Levidress, I would say like Varga may have the toughest time, fighting those two
Mm-hmm.
meta
Yeah.
wise. I think it has a good chance with Odium, but like Raziel and Levidress, I feel like are Varga counters. So it's interesting.
Yeah,
Let's
looking at the
see.
Varga list, it looks like, the Varga list that we're thinking of.
I'm
I mean,
surprised he runs 2 of the grade 3s because I thought he would have run like 3 or 4 because you wipe your whole field, like your front and your back row.
Yeah, that'll be
So you
great,
need
actually.
you need a way to replenish your field like turn after turn.
what's kind of interesting is what's the name of the green dragon, the grade 1? Can't remember. From
Summer
set
Flare,
5.
I think. I think Summer
Yeah,
Flare.
Summer Flare. Yeah. Sunflare, what's good with him is that he always will stay on your board. The minute he's on there, I mean, just like a damn weed, he will always like spring back up because
Oh,
he
my bad,
revives
Storm
himself.
Slasher.
Or Storm Slasher, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he revives himself for free. So I think like I guess the ideology is that with Twin Pulsive, you could just try and dig for it if you can as an option, and then
Mhm.
I mean, once you get at least one on board, it's gonna stay there unless your opponent wipes it out. So I can kind of see that. Energy. Yeah, I mean it's really a standard list for the most part. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like the starter though, the Blaze Ember, going forward with Raksha.
Hey, it's a preference. You can run whatever you want as a starter.
As long as
Yeah.
it's Dragon Empire.
So it's
Wait,
just DE.
What's the
Yep.
grade 1
Yeah.
fighter Boulder Axe?
Oh, the Varga grade 1?
Isn't it a grade 1?
Oh, that's the one that like it could bind itself, and you draw if your opponent
Oh.
after it boosts.
Alright, gotcha.
So yeah, it's an option. I mean, this is a pretty like the Varga's a very straightforward build. I mean, the differences will be like your ratios
Mhm.
on what you do with the remaining grade 1s outside the staples. As you see, he has some interesting ratios. Some people play Impale Horn Dragon, some people play Summit Dragon, which we actually were talking about it briefly before we started. That Anthony and I, we weren't like. We're not necessarily a big fan of the card. Yeah, it's like an insurance card, but I just don't really like it
Yeah.
very much. So I don't know. I like this list overall. I'll probably have different ratios and such, but like I like the overall card choices they make. I like the front trippers also.
So I would say the meta in Korea seems like, I mean, obviously, I think because that they have a smaller outcome than Japan, like I think what their top 8 is very condensed, and it just gives us yeah, that's what I would run in a smaller outcome tournament. Because
Yeah,
Japan's like results, like their top cut is like way bigger because they have more people, so it
yeah.
makes sense.
More people, different variations.
And they have
There's a lot more variation.
they also have a diversity cut, which is very big.
Yeah, the
Oh yeah, that is
diversity
the thing.
is a big difference. Yeah.
So it incentivizes some players to run off meta choices.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why oftentimes when you look at like Japanese tops and you see like once in a while you see like a random deck you don't expect. I mean, it doesn't mean it does, but the first thought that people make is like, oh, that's diversity cut.
So we can hop on to the Japanese tournament results because the Korean list seems like something I would expect. Although I am a little surprised not to see any like Night Roses, because I feel like Night Rose is a very solid choice in the meta for set 5 as well.
They probably were
Yeah.
up there, but they didn't get top 8.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
true. Probably got kicked up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like top 8 is just top 8. Like in my opinion, I mean, top 8 is I don't think is a good representation of a meta necessarily unless you run that tournament like 10 times in a row.
Yeah.
I think like top 32 gives us a better widespread because like once you're in top 32, it's like single limb from there. Like anything can happen at that point. So I think that's a better representation to give us like an outlook on things.
Yeah, 100%.
It gives us a bigger sample size than the
Yeah.
top 8.
Yeah. Speaking of bigger sample size, I think this result this is actually from the Saturday of the same weekend, last weekend basically.
Mhm.
So remember this is teams, by the way. So obviously you're gonna see a lot of one-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh, okay, I
the
see.
one thing that's really taking the meta by storm in Japan, what I've realized is that Love and Berry deck.
Oh my
I
gosh, it's
I
so
can't
good.
stand that. I can't stand that deck.
It's just so broken.
The aesthetic is
It's so
awful,
ugly.
Like
but the
it
effects
is
are really
very
good.
ugly. Yeah, no. The cards are absolutely ugly. Like I hate looking at it, but damn, like it is really good.
If this is the price we get for Dino King later, then I guess.
That's for King collab.
Yeah, so
No.
for those of you guys don't know, so in Japan, like they do these like series of cards like Love and Berry, Mush King,
Collabs,
the
like
Dino King, the
collaboration cards.
collabs.
We don't
Yeah,
have Dino King technically. We're just theorizing at that point if it comes out.
so
Yeah.
I wasn't in the meta at the time, and I'm pretty sure that Chris and Anthony can kind of speak on our behalf. So when Mush King came out, that was probably like what the best deck in the format, most likely, when it first came out. Is what
I'm trying to remember. I believe it was like I remember like just getting hit with big numbers so early, like turn 1 and 2 when I went second. I'm just like,
Yeah, because
pretty
they
sure
hit
man,
for like
Really?
23 on the rear guard. Yeah,
because I'm pretty
18
sure
and then 23, and then
yeah,
on their grade 3 turn, they played a Zorga
yeah.
order that gives them another drive check. So they're hitting
Gathering
3
upon.
checks
Yeah.
and then 2 checks.
Yeah. I've played against that today in our
I
little
play
local.
against that every single week.
Yeah, dude, and Marcus like sacks me to oblivion. Like every time, it's just like crit OT or just OT crit.
See, the bad thing is we know what that deck does.
Yeah, because I remember quickly, it dominated the meta in Japan for like a good while.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking too, because it's a very strong deck. So I'm pretty sure that's what Love and Berry is doing right now, is that it's being a very dominant deck. Because it just came out, and I'm pretty sure it got all the power boost it needs, like to survive the meta for a little bit.
It's always
Yeah,
like
they get 5
simple
attacks on the
aggro.
first turn.
Yeah.
First grade 3 turn, they have 5 attacks. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's like simple, like very simple hyper aggro that's like pretty much to compensate for the lack of like crazy support cards and all this crazy plays. Like, I don't need divine skill, just simple high vanilla attacks in multitudes. Hyper aggro.
I mean, also the thing is like the deck's also cheap.
Speaking of the oddball, I see a Chaos in the top, in one of the teams in the top 3.
It's time for Chris to tag in.
All right, Chris, what do you think of this Chaos build? Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
Ooh, okay,
it's
okay.
self-explained, but
yeah, Chris.
So the goal of Chaos is to get 13 different names, right? So they are running a lot of the will dress triggers.
That changes everything.
Yeah. Also, if you notice, they're only running 2 PGs.
Oh yeah. This is the build
Wait,
that you
what?
were talking to me about. Yeah, he's only running
Oh, I
2
see it. I
PGs.
see it now.
So I think the main idea is to soul charge different names as fast as you can, because I think in this meta, like, you're not going to live anyway, so you might as well just go in with more power and more, or you want more power and you want to hit your 13 names in the soul as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
Me
You're gonna end up killing
personally-
yourself anyway before your opponent will kill you.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, me personally though, I actually think this is a really good deck to play in best of 1 format. But the problem is like why people don't play it in the States more often is I think it's because the well-dressed cards are really expensive.
Yeah.
no, people
Yes.
don't play it here in the States because we have a different mindset to Eastern players, I guess you could say.
Yeah, because
No,
like
those
our mindset
no, listen, those well-dressed cards are like $100 each.
that and like our mindset on the west side is like we don't high roll as much.
What do you
Like,
mean?
we just go
We
for
all high roll.
what's simple.
No, because like in Japan, like, it's like full high roll, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean in
more-
that sense, yeah.
They play the simple thing. It comes from when I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! It's the same exact mindset going into Vanguard. Like Japanese players, they play to win. Us Western players, we play just to not lose. So we like to go for more of what is consistent, whatever has
Mhm.
insurances. Like even when I was comparing Langnemeyer decks that are topping like here in the here in like the US or North America compared to like Japanese decks throughout, there's definitely some commonality, but there's a lot. Like for example, there's more decks that are topping here that run Colossus, whereas in Japan you don't see as many Blangamire decks that run Colossus in their deck.
Hmm.
Like they just go for different things, and it's like and like almost everyone ran Tiskars here. Japan, like a lot of them don't even run Tiskars or run other things. Like Japan has like one set focus that they're going for, and they just focus on that. We just kind of like go for consistency and whatever gives us good assurance.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really.
It's why like hyper aggro decks. I mean, unless the meta is literally that, but unless the meta is slow enough for it to prevail, but like really like hyper aggro decks, I just don't see it being represented enough to even necessarily be a factor in our meta, in my opinion. I think that's like the two various differences.
Mhm.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this Love and Berry deck show up at all. I don't want to
Well,
look at it.
we're there's a high chance that we're not going to get it until like 2 years from now.
I thought
Good.
we were getting it in set 5 or.
No, that's not a
We're gonna get
guarantee.
it.
Oh.
We'll get
That's
it
not
a few sets
guaranteed.
later.
Yeah, Love and Berry is not guaranteed. It's like a collab deck, like the Beastpo decks.
Yeah.
I think
forgot about-
I think
about
I think I got treated by Mushi King, to be honest. I'll get a few sets later.
Yeah.
Because I know it's in the set for set 5. We're not getting it in English.
Probably set 6 or 7. We're probably
Yeah,
gonna
but
get
we
it.
didn't get. Oh, you're saying like it's a main deck. Main deck.
Yeah,
So Love and Berry is in set 5.
it's incorporated in the set.
Yeah, it's in the set 5.
Oh man.
It's like what they did with Mushi King, where like it's a main set like
No, it's
like,
a it's
picture
a
card.
it's a EX card.
Yeah, which is which is in the main set. It's like the bonus cards.
No, EX cards we don't get in the set in English sometimes.
Yeah, we usually get them later. Like for example,
Yeah, that's
but
what I'm saying. We'll probably get it later, not now.
yeah,
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
hoping
Only
so,
like-
because I don't want to face that meta right now.
like 6 or 7. I'm assuming.
And then just like the other just because like we are all Dark State players, there is a Leo deck that also runs the list like I was saying is like they just run 8 recyclers and then 4 of the Dark State Shenri.
Yeah.
It's a super easy deck. You just run 4 of the main stuff and then just slam and try to get your extra turn.
Yeah, it's just huge. I mean, it's just major tempo swing, and then like it's just an overall like straightforward deck that they just build up to just that huge turn, that divine skill turn is just so strong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
And it's
think
so
like
simple.
if it can go off, I think it's probably a really strong deck to go up against.
I mean, I think it's one of the best decks in
Yep.
the meta after set 5. Like it's really good. Like I'm always drawn to decks that are like very simple in nature, like with its build and everything, but it just has one strong, like really powerful like skill that you build around. It's kind of like that's really why I like with Blangamire. I would even be semi interested in building this if it wasn't so damn expensive.
Yeah, it's the waifu tax, man. The waifu tax is really expensive.
Like attacks.
Some things never change.
I don't care about the waifu. It could be like a big muscular buff dude. I'll still play it.
Well, you would, but it's only expensive because it's waifu tax, is what I'm saying.
Because people like the older sisters.
Yeah, they like that.
Can't say anything.
Well, you can always borrow the deck if I make it.
It's true.
True.
I probably have to, Chris, at this point.
I'm the sponsor. I let people borrow cards on my decks, and then that's it.
It's like, all right, buy me a drink.
that's
You can borrow
sponsorship.
my deck.
We rent Chris's decks for a bottle of water for hydration.
Am I being sponsored again for that?
That's kind of funny.
So I was kind of curious, like what would happen to Shoujo Doji after like the ban list crippled it a little bit.
Good.
There has been like at least like one Shoujo Doji that tops like every event. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
it doesn't win anymore, right? But it's always like within the top list now.
What I'm always curious on the most is with Doji is like what do they do to compensate the restrictions? So Doji, of course, it's pretty cookie cutter. There's only before the ban or the restriction, there's only like maybe one or two cards that can be different that you can go with, but for the most part, it's just very cookie cutter. So I like to like see like what
They're
do
just
they
running
do to
recyclers now.
compensate. Yeah, they just run foul hearts.
Yeah,
I
they're
see
just
some
running
people
foul
run the
hearts.
dual nation. I see some people run Lettuce Boy dual nation.
Yeah, Lettuce Boy is really good because it gives Shojidoji the numbers that they need
Mm-hmm.
potentially to hit because it gives them like 5k extra. So if they happen to not be able to see any of the other card that gives the 5k to the front row, then Lettuce is not the worst option from my opinion. They are running that promo that came out for Chojidoji, or that's coming out for us now.
Yeah.
But
I thought
as of
Lettuce.
one of.
I thought Lettuce gave 5K to like whatever was called.
Like
Yeah,
Other
units
than
that
from
are
him,
called out.
not
Yeah.
front row. Yeah.
Just units that are called out
Okay.
by like an ability, I believe.
Yeah, like I said, it's not the worst option.
It's good. So.
Man, speaking of promos, god damn, dude. That the Direful Doll promo is like the only thing that's gonna be going for this this tournament in December.
I'll try to pull it when I'm gone.
But
Yeah,
yeah, Shojidoji's are. Anything else other than what we're expecting? Like obviously we're expecting Raziel, right? To be
So yeah, because like teams,
Appreciate it.
because obviously, yeah, because this is teams, right?
yeah, of
So
course.
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of like go through each team and figure out which deck expectedly probably carried a lot of the load and maybe what deck.
Like look, the team that won
Yeah.
first place. That's such an obvious lineup that I would run in my team as well.
I mean, Vargo, Levy, Dress, Raziel. I mean, that's pretty straightforward right
Yeah,
there.
it's like the top 3 decks. Like we're running this, we're rolling, and we're gonna win.
It's like when there's teams like remember the Invaders versus Defenders format for teams, and like pretty much if you like almost everyone ran the same team, the same
Yeah,
lineup for teams. So
because there was
that's
always one
pretty.
Chaos Breaker in the Invader team, and then there was always a Revenger in the other.
Yeah. It's interesting though in the second place team. I guess there's 2 Leavenberries, but there's 2 different variations of it,
Yeah,
so it's
Yeah.
legal to play.
Berry, yeah. Berry
as
and
long
Love.
as you have a different
Yeah.
boss, I think you can run. Like even for Raziel, you can run like one of the new Raziel, like the new Raziel as a starter, and then a regular Raziel, and then you can still run it on the same team.
So
Yeah,
that's
that
what the
works.
toppings was for.
I think that's how they took advantage of the diversity cut.
Yeah, because remember like one of the toppings recently was like there's 2 Raziel on one team, and it was like because they ran Vita and the other one ran just normal.
Yeah, it's a loophole.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if all the Stride decks just kind of lost.
I mean,
Let me see.
Because there's
there's
like
only
one
one Night Rose.
Yeah, there's only one Night Rose. I don't see any Stride.
Because I felt like
Nope.
I felt like Stride decks would be very strong in these type of formats.
They usually are.
They usually are, but I don't know, like if there is a very aggro type of deck like of going running around, like I can understand why people may shy away from stride decks, but
Mm-hmm.
as far as like stride decks, like are there even any recent strides that can have popularity? Because I know sometimes like people just don't want to. People are just tired of whatever stride's been out. Because Night Rose has been out for a while in Japan, and I guess people are just kind of
Oh
tired.
yeah, that's true. Because they got theirs earlier than we did.
Yeah, so it's like there
Mm-hmm.
hasn't really been a lot of because I don't think it's just the case that stride decks are bad. I think it's also like just interest as well, because people are just people are already tired of them, so they just kind of want to move on to other things. But I think like for strides can only be as good as the speed of the meta. So if the meta is actually very fast, or more overwhelming, or much more overwhelmingly potent late game, I mean strides can fight back, but I don't know. I kind of view strides as like a grind fest.
Yeah, I
In my
think
opinion.
one deck that's scaring them off is the Love deck where on
Yeah,
turn 3 they
right.
just have 5 attacks, and then they do a lot of searching. I believe they do a lot of searching, so they filter out as many cards as possible and just go in.
They could get grade 2 gamed as well.
Yep.
So
So that was
I
another
wanted
thing.
to move on to like an actual BCS.
Okay.
The one I just sent you is the one that also happened. I think it was on the same time frame as Texas. It should be on our. I sent you guys the
November
link.
23rd. Yep.
So this is also recent as well. So actually, one of the guys on this top 8 list, he's a guy that's on Vanguard. He's selling stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen his name a lot. Used. I've seen him on Vanguardians a lot. But it seems like he made the top list. He made top 8 with Leonon. But I actually, when I was like kind of reviewing stuff, I actually thought this tournament was interesting because the overall results are decks like we would not expect. Because I think
Wait.
their meta is just like I don't really care about meta. I'm just gonna play what I want.
Yeah, I see that one Gravidia over there.
Video and
Yeah,
Gandhi
video.
made it.
No, man, those are the new meta decks. Didn't you guys hear?
in Paldio, I mean Leonon expected, right? Varga is
Yeah.
also not a bad choice, and Luard's okay too. In Paldio, we all know like it counters all the other decks, but damn, there's a lot of like
I see
unexpected.
Gandiva.
Yeah, Gandiva, Gardivia, Messiahs is okay too. I think Messiahs isn't like horrible to play.
That's not. It's more of a fight against, but to play, it's not bad.
There's 2 Impaldios at top. I do want to take a little bit a look into the Impaldio since we do have the extra time today.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which one?
Which one?
Which event were you looking at again?
I'm just it's on our chat, the Discord one I just added.
Wait,
It's like the very last one.
first place at Podio?
The first place list?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Alright.
we always look at the first place and then kind of go down, right?
Yeah. Okay.
We want to see what he did to make first place, right? He probably just sacked his way, right?
Yeah, probably.
But
Let's see.
no, this is a solid list. This is actually almost similar to what I was running when I was playing Impaldio. The correct word is when I was testing Impaldio.
Yeah, you didn't follow through.
No, I never followed through.
Is he running forward at all? No, he just ran the X striker, like the one X striker, and
I do like that they're playing the Blitz order.
Yeah.
It gives them more defensive options.
yeah, I play
Listen,
that.
that
I play
blitz
that
order
fine.
is crazy good. With
I
the
think-
grade 2, that thing's amazing.
I'm glad he's not running that like weird promo from last year, which was like I think like on attack Soul Blast 2 retire or something.
Yeah, I don't know what card you're talking about.
I can't remember what I remember it's like I think it was 9k, 9k base on attack Soul Blast 2, then retire a opponent's rear guard. I can't remember what was it actually called because Calvin actually ran his deck list because he saw someone in Japan playing it.
Is
and
it
the
a
card
grade 1?
it's a grade 2.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like expensive now. It's like $15
Yeah.
or something.
It
I
shot
know
up
what
because
it is.
it used to be pennies, but because the one guy in Japan topped using it, it shot up
A
in
lot of
price.
them did. Yeah, a lot of them did. I like this one list. They run this the common maybe girl. Just when it's discarded during ride phase, so blast 2 draw a card. They
Which
just load up your drop zone.
Yeah.
That's actually really funny. And yeah, they don't run their. It's an interesting list here. Yeah, Impaldio, I think Impaldio is really capable of handling the meta right now.
I feel like it's kind of like, how should I say it? I'm not gonna say gatekeeper, right? Like it has a really high potential as a 3, even for a 3 attack deck. I think it just has a very high potential. And I remember the one conversation when Simon was on our podcast saying that anything that will give you an opportunity to do an extra drive check just changes the outcome of what you're originally guarding.
Yeah,
So I definitely see like this deck being really good just because like it can give you a different result than your regular attack order.
I mean, what you're really doing is you're trading off multiple attacks to be 3 attacks, but instead of having extra attacks, you're trading all of that to have better quality attacks. And the drive checks I honestly view the drive checks, the extra drive checks, especially from the rear guard, as like card draw in a way, with the chance to hit triggers. In my personal, because I actually have the deck myself and I've been testing a little bit with it. I think the only one thing I kind of don't like with it at times is that early on, like you could get pressured early on and you may not have a good hand to kind of work with, and you do have to discard for the divine skill. So you could be, if your opponent knows to like maybe not give you the 4 gauge early enough, then especially if you went first, you could be caught in a very tough situation. So it can be a little bit tricky. And at the same time, also, like once you hit to 5 damage, then defensively you do lose a lot of your defensive options, and you do rely a little bit on your drive checks to kind of be the source of your kind of like your push, I guess you could say. But the numbers are ridiculously high. The later you get into the game, so I think that's where Impaldio can become very intimidating.
Yeah, and Poldio definitely has a very nice like way to kind of get its way out, and then it also like it has it out to like the top tier decks, which is like Leonon and Shojidoji.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I still say like Leonardo and Doji probably still is favorable against
Yeah,
Impaldio in a lot of cases,
100%.
but
Yeah.
it's not. But Impaldio does have the tools to kind of sustain itself with it, because like Leonardo and Doji, they can still have like defensively. They are a little bit of a there are a little bit of glass cannons, so they could be just as scared of them as they are, as you may be of them. So
Yeah.
that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we looked enough tournament results. We can hop onto the main topic. I think this is actually the most exciting topic that we are going to be talking about today, personally, just because I actually been looking forward to talking about set 6 in general.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I
I
was
love
gonna
this
say,
set.
we're on episode 6, so it kind of matches.
Yeah, it works.
It was
It just
timing.
works.
Yeah, it was the best timing for it. And we have actually, so there was one deck I wasn't really sure what it did, and Anthony here actually plays Max, so he might give us a better insight of what he thinks about the cards that is coming out for Masks. And actually, I think most of the cards are revealed, right?
Yeah, most of them. I think like they're doing like either tomorrow and no, not tomorrow, Tuesday and Thursday. They're doing like the finishing up reveals.
Yeah,
It's
because
just gonna be the rares and maybe some double rares, but that's about it.
It's like one or two double rares.
Yeah.
wait, did they already reveal the? Okay, cool. Yeah. So let's hop on. I would say we have a Kagero specialist. Would you like to talk about Kagero?
What do you mean, Bellicosity Dragon?
Well, is that the only? Well, I was gonna say it. Vermilion was well.
Yep.
Vermilion is kind of like the first one on the list,
Dark,
but
Millions Narakami, not
Dark
Kagero.
Army.
oh, true.
Yeah, what the hell?
I was like,
They're all
confused.
dragons to me. Let's talk about Dragon Empire.
That's racist. Or speciesist. Just
Speciesist.
no, clanist. That's clanist because they're clans.
Yeah, that's more accurate.
So, what do you guys think about
Yep.
Vermilion though? So I kind of was like, it's kind of the same thing with the crit.
I called this. Remember I said this to our
I
pre-match? I was
know,
like,
I know.
he's just gonna gain extra crit. That's literally so.
It's the same thing.
What this shows, and I know like I've seen some different reactions online about it, in forums and yada yada. But what I will say is this kind of shows how Bushiroad is choosing to support cards like existing decks now, is rather than giving us something that is so broken that will just replace the entire deck as a whole that you have to build around the new card. It's more just supplementing the deck, so you're just adding.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to maintain its same focus, but maybe with a few enhancements or refinements as well. So I think that's really good. It's not overwhelmingly great. I don't know. Like even with if you remember the very OG days with the blood, I always the Limit Break 5 blood. If for those who know, I always thought that was a little bit redundant with the extra crit at times. So I kind of have this. I kind of feel the same with this. I think it's still solid. The deck as a whole is still like I think good because all the support cards that came with it, along with it. I think with the blood with the extra crit, it just makes it so that you can accelerate the game state a little bit easier because a lot of times your opponent will be at 2 damage when you're at 3 when you're on your grade 3 turn, your first one. So if you're able to get off the blood, perhaps quicker if you're able to attack with the extra crit early and when your opponent's at low damage, they may be. What would be different is with the old Vermilion, a lot of times your opponent will just no guard it and then just deal with the extra damage that comes with it. So if they don't get critted, like their damage will
Yeah.
still be sustainable, but the extra crit now makes them have to second guess their choices with dealing with the Vanguard. So you have to deal with two avenues of damage.
And also,
I
like
think.
you can't just like take 5 damages and just start guarding everything. Because before, like that's a strategy that you could have done is you could have stayed ahead on damage on purpose, and then just not take Vermilion's extra damage skill.
Mhm.
But now, like because that Kaiser Vermilion has an extra crit, there's a lot of pressure of staying very try to stay on high on damage as well.
The extra 5 is also underrated because regular Vermilion, if you're not able to boost them,
Yeah.
it's only 18, so all you have to do is drop a front trigger for just a 2 to pass and like whatever, I'll just take the damage he's going to give me anyway. So it's a lot more manageable with the blood. It takes away like that those easy avenues to kind of play around the skill to play around the skill itself. So you have to deal with the extra crit that you can't just easily guard. So you have to like actually guard it normally, and you still have to deal with the same shenanigans. And they have better support cards that allow the deck to flow a little bit better.
And I'm not too sure of the other cards, but I know like Gabe is really excited about Bellicosity Dragon.
Yeah, Bellicosity is really good. It's really, really good. Like that card alone, can makes the end a lot. I mean, I think it does change up the entire like lineup with the end because you don't because like at least before right because currently with to shove an Overlord into the soul you have to like have it in the drop. You have to get the grade 2, then you have to retire the grade 2, then you shove it in. So there's like
Yeah.
two to three
So
steps
it's
you have to
slowly,
have.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like 2 3 steps you have to have in place, but at least now with the Bellicosity, you could just keep the Overlord and you have another option that you can just do it immediately, and then the draw 2 is huge.
And plus,
Like
like with
you
the
made your
end attacking twice, Bellicosity is also like a free 10k attacker as well.
Yeah, so so you basically have 8 10k attacker or at plus 10 plus 20 or yeah plus 10 with the Burning Horn because I know like what was tough is that Burning Horn is kind of like your only other rear guard that actually can create some damage, or not damage, can create some ideal power on the sides. So, but Bellicosity just adds some more redundancy to that so that you can actually have a stronger field presence, more consistently, which is really nice. So, I mean, I'm looking at trying to pick up the core now again,
I
so
just realized
that
Bellicosity is just uh the Kagero's version of the main.
in a way, yeah, just
Yeah,
with except the discard you shove in soul.
But the key
yeah,
thing is like it sets up the end so much faster.
Yeah, and drawing cards is
yeah.
just really good. Like
And
like
it's
Yeah,
draw
it's not
2
turn
is
four
good.
anymore.
Nope.
honestly, if the end goes first, they can go off right away.
Yeah, at like their
Yeah.
maximum like value, but you could just go there, Bellicosity, drop a Burning Horn if you want, and I mean it works so well with the Burning Horn as well to fish for a target for Overlord. I like Bellicosity. I think does become a really good glue card for the deck overall.
Oh, before we go any further in this podcast, the one thing I remember that Simon was saying at the end of the podcast last week is he was so happy that Bushiroad is reprinting the dragons.
Like Stride X supports one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
that
so
is
glad those got
so
reprinted.
nice. Yeah, and it's actually in the actual set names. So that is great that they're doing it because getting those cards are a pain, and at least for us, it's a pain.
Because like the Dark Side one's like it's pretty pricey.
Yeah, not just
I
Dark
can
States,
agree.
but like, um, everything was going up because we have a lot of scalpers here. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was
that's unfortunate.
every grade threes, like the strike fighters were going up. So thank God that Bushiroad decided to reprint it. It was probably one of the best choices. As well as the masks, the mask card as well. But it
Yeah,
kind
the
of
map
makes
cards like
sense.
they started going up in price. I think like someone tried to sell them for like 20.
Yeah, I think it's a very good idea that they did because the scalpers, like as soon as like they saw max support, they were buying off all the max cards.
Yeah.
So,
And then reprint announced, and we're like, good.
so
I
question:
played it already.
would you guys like to save Dark States last?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I think,
Fine.
all right. So now, we have the Messiah support, right? The Trans Elves Messiah
Hmm.
for Brancade. That's the one that has not been revealed, which is coming out this week. So I think
Yeah,
it
that's
could
not
be,
been revealed yet.
yeah,
Yeah, it
I
hasn't been
think,
revealed
yeah,
yet.
this is the only one that hasn't been revealed. But I would say for Brancade, other than that, like Glory Maker is amazing actually. Um, because that makes Dayusha so much better, and it also makes Dayusha more scarier when it attacks, because now it forces them to drop more than two cards, so they can't just perfect guard certain attacks against it. So this is a really good card.
Yeah, I like the fact that you could choose either your opponent cannot play blitz orders
Mhm.
or it's a 2-card guard from hand.
That's really good. Like it's a selective. And this can be activated from the drop zone too. So let's say like you don't run any stride fodders, right? Or recyclers. You would just drop this card and then play it later and then just put it in the back row. It's such a good card. This is probably one of the best ones out of the ones that they announced. Personally, just because how the deck works.
At least Asia has a guard string.
So I mean, we don't have like a committed brand game player, but we also don't have Trans Elves announced yet. So not really much to talk about. Does anyone here know about like the Keter stuff? Because I'm not like too knowledgeable on it.
I took a glance at it. Battle Sister Coco, I think I think that's gonna be part of the Keter package as well, potentially.
Well, the thing is, it has to have like the one clan, right? So it can only be
Yeah.
used in an older deck. Well, I mean, you know what I mean, like an older deck, renewed or redone.
Right. Like I mean, what deck does that exist for? MLB?
Oh,
MLB.
true.
I mean,
Oh, I just
Luard.
realized you can.
Actually, no, sorry.
No.
Scratch Luard, scratch Luard, scratch
No,
Luard.
no, no, no. I think it's
Genesis.
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 Genesis. Yeah.
Come on, David. You freaking play like you play MLB. Yeah, that should have clicked in your head like, yo, I could
But
try
there's like
this.
no
I
space to
mean,
play this. The space is full.
I mean, this
Makes
might
sense.
be like a hint to like we might get OTT soon.
I think so. Like all the cards they're
I mean,
announcing, they are planning to release another
I
like
am
clan out.
coping the hardest. I am coping the hardest that that Scarlet Witch Coco like comes back.
I
It's
think
not
it's
gonna
gonna be a
happen.
hard Tsukuyomi
It's gonna be Tsukuyomi or CEO, like
because
you
they
know, one of
already
those
did a
days.
collab with what's the anime? I forgot. What's the anime that drew Tsukuyomi?
I don't know.
Shaman King.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Shaman
Oh,
King.
Shaman
Shaman
King?
King.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the person that drew Tsukuyomi did Shaman King, and we already did a collab with Shaman King. So that's a hint that
oh,
it's gonna be Tsukuyomi.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
I didn't know it until Daniel told me.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, just so that's why I was like, oh, that might be not a bad idea. So I'm definitely looking forward to it being OTT, to be honest. But then again, it could be like a high Battle Sister thing too, because Battle Sisters was really popular.
No, not really.
No, I thought it
Battle
was really
Sisters was
popular.
just it was just like staple cards that were Battle Sister, but and then they did make a Battle Sister deck, but that was like way later. But like the pinnacle of
G.
OTT was always like CEO first, and then Tsukiyomi, and then you had
Mm.
Coco that came out afterwards. There were Battle Sisters around, but by the time Battle Sister came out, like people were just focused on other things.
I think
Yeah,
it
it was the end of
like
G, I believe, that came out.
was it during
Yeah.
energy? It was like mid to like G.
No, I mean, well, there was a Battle Sister thing. Forgot what dessert she was, but it was like the Limit Break 4, Counterblast 3, Draw 2.
Dessert.
I mean, they
That's
were
I
all
mean,
insane.
they're
named
based
after
off of desserts
desserts.
anyways, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I
So
mean,
I was gonna say before
like,
we hop onto Stokea and Dark States, Anthony. So do you know any of the mask cards? Because I don't know anything about masks.
I think that I do know math cards, but like the only problem is there there are math units of two decks I didn't play because I didn't play Gandiva that much. I only
I
tried
played
out during
Gandiva.
I tried out
Oh,
during Gear
then
Days, but
your
I
opinion
Chris
on
guys take
Gandiva,
over here.
Chris?
Chris can take over for this one.
All right, so I'm trying to think of the list, or pre-draft a list for Mask and Diva. The only problem I'm running is you have to run more original Gandivas, because if you want to use the
Yeah, you need a different
the
Gandiva from this unit from hand or soul or drop to
yeah, to get
activate the
that
mask
effect,
cards.
yeah.
Because it copies the original axe skill.
Yeah. And if you go first and you use it immediately while your opponent's at grade 2, you're not going to get that card ever again, and you just used up your turn essentially. So I think if you go first, I think you just stay on original Gandiva, and then next turn you can go into the other Gandiva.
The new one, right?
Yeah, the new one.
Because I feel like with the masks, isn't that like generally what you do? Is like you would ride the old one and then activate the mask from the drop zone and then just ride it as a persona ride?
Usually,
Yeah, but
even if you go first, you still ride up. Like with Zorga mask, you always ride
Gotcha.
up first and all that.
Gotcha. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, I think this is the only deck that wants to stay on original form first and then go up.
I was gonna say, have you tried the other one?
oh,
The priest?
Mhm.
No, I know a guy that played priest. I know you manipulate the top
Right.
card, and if you guess it right, you get effects.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
since we all
they
don't
have ways
know,
to stack the deck.
we
They
can
do
kind
have
of
ways
take a
to stack
look,
the
right?
deck, yes. And I
So let's
think
see.
they want to
Mhm.
ride up to the mask form.
Yeah, because like if because like his effect is if you clear it correctly, I think it's like
One of your units, one of the unit that was placed gets a drive check,
yeah,
or only drive 1.
yeah, sets a drive to 1.
Yeah.
The Keter mask is actually pretty nice. I like the artwork for it, and it actually uses the dragon tree markers. So I think this might be the main mask redone out of the other ones, personally.
Yeah, I think its on attack is really good. Like, just look at top 3, and then whatever markers you have, you can call as many as you want.
I was gonna
And if
say
you do it
that's not even
correctly,
the
they should be
scary
all
skill.
normal units.
The scary skill is that so it has an ability auto, right? If you activate the act ability to remove the other regular one
Yeah.
of its copy, is that when a unit is placed by the opponent's or this unit's ability to attack this turn, right?
Yeah.
Increase or decrease that unit's drive to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it screws with the opponent's like drive check for the next turn if you can't ride. It kind of, I'm not gonna say blame the Meyer, but it kind of like negs them driving. If you don't have if you don't have the extra copy, then your attack is getting like super reduced. So this is actually not a bad card. I actually think this is actually pretty strong.
Agreed.
Yeah.
For a cost that's not super heavy, I think this is a really good card.
Yeah, and you can get away with running more copies of the original Stellarin card. the original boss unit.
Okay, cool. So I do want to talk about Stochea, right? Because I'm obviously excited for a Maelstrom, but I know how do I pronounce
Roa.
it? Roa. So
Yeah.
that's like the main card. Well, it's the cover card of this
Yeah.
set. So I think I do want to review this, right? So
Mm-hmm.
from what I've heard, I don't know too much about this deck personally, but I just know it's a different strategy than what the original one did.
Correct. Yes.
Because the original one, you would abuse the tokens and then kind of attack. But this one, I think it uses the tokens to do kind of other effects. So let's see.
Yeah, so I still think it's token based, but it has different now it has like some different
Its support is
things.
different too.
Like I think the one prior, it was kind of more like how Neonectars would have played, like the Katrinas, like it would abuse the tokens and get like some kind of power for it. But I think this one, it kind of like uses the tokens to do other things. Like it like bot decks. It bot decks the card if you like retire or glitter.
That's it. What it does is like if you choose a glitter unit and you put it in bottom deck, if you choose a Roa, you can bottom deck a opponent's card. But if you put a Raylina, you can call a card from deck from I think one grade less.
Yeah,
So
one grade
the
less.
general strategy seems a lot different. So I know a lot of people are saying like it's not that great, but I actually think it's not bad. Seems solid.
Yeah, the support though is very different because with the old Roa, you have the grade 1 where you can superior ride into the new grade 3 Roa before this card appeared.
The superior red one, right? I think what's called like was it the flash one?
Hold up, I'm checking right now.
Oh yeah, I cannot pronounce that word.
A Viridescent Flash.
Yeah, that one.
So the one thing I can think of, right, to abuse this deck is I would definitely play that dual nation card, the lettuce.
Yeah, the lettuce, yeah.
Yeah.
The aesthetics
So
finally
powerful.
match the deck.
I know, finally the lettuce can actually be a $40 card. That's probably the only one that didn't go up in price.
Well, now you gave people ideas. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's okay, I have my playset.
Yeah.
I actually got all the dual nation cards like when they were like $10 each, or at least like around that range.
I still regret not getting Revertis when I could have.
So sad not getting Dark Bond.
They used to be budget.
Yeah, the only one I don't have is
it used to be
Peter
a
Brandt.
tech choice.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a staple.
Peter Brandt one is ridiculous. It's the same thing.
That's the one I should have got. That's the one I didn't get. So I cried, but at the same time I have everything else. It's okay.
We'll live, sort of.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh god.
I don't.
I'm looking at some of the prices on TCG Player now. One of the cards for Reziel is like $43 right now.
Yeah, they're going up. And it's not because of this podcast, because no one listens to this.
Yeah.
Going on. So I do want to talk about Dancing Cutlass first. So I personally don't like this card. As much as like it's not a bad card, right? I just don't personally like it because the only decks that you can really play this is Aquaforce. And I cannot like. I mean, it's not a bad card, but there's just no space to run this. I know Simon said that he's running 4 of these, but I cannot run this card.
It's a
Let me look at it again.
The counter charge is nice, right?
Yeah.
But you have to remove 2 other copies, which meaning this has to be on the board, and there has to be 2 other copies. So basically, you can't run a second. You can't run this as a second effect. So you can only use this once.
Wait,
which I mean, I can
bad
see
about
why
this card?
they did it. No, I'm not saying. I never
card?
said it's bad. I'm just like I cannot find a way to play this in Aquaforce because of the space.
Oh,
wait.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because
From field. Second from drop.
yeah,
The act ability is really good, right? But you can only really use this once, because you have to remove 2 cards in the drop to be able to countercharge, which meaning you can never use this a second time.
yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's
Which
just
I mean is very fair.
it's just made that so that you have to run multiple copies of it, of course, to take advantage of the one single counter charge, which could be enough for the most part.
Yeah,
But it's able to pay itself back by with the
the energy
discard.
blast, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the fact is that it's also during the main phase, also not just the ride phase. So it's just good. It's just good as a just a cost reducer. Again, Stoicheia has a lot of like cards that discard as well.
Well, Maelstrom itself
So
actually discards on the main phase, so I think that's why they made it like in this purpose. But once again, like we also don't know what Bushy's planning in the future, because I have a feeling that with all these older cards coming out, they're trying to aim for like some kind of revival in a
mhm.
way. So,
Like
so
as we learned, especially when we see some cards that went from like 40 cents to like $20, average wrestler. Any card that has beneficial abilities, like if you just see a card, it doesn't have a tight restriction necessarily, and it just says draw a card for a cheap cost.
yeah,
Anything generic, just get them. If
yeah,
they're
this is a
related to
card I'm
your
getting,
clan,
but
if they're related, if they can be related to a future or current clan and or nation deck you play, just get them if it's cheap. You know, so just get them just to have them. You never know, and the secondary market will go ballistic.
But
Like
once
out of
again, this
nowhere.
is just a personal opinion because I just don't see a way for me to play that card. But I know last week Simon was mentioning to me that he really likes the Dancing Cutlass because me
Yeah,
and
this card's
Simon are
good.
very different
This
on
card
our
is
deck builds.
I think this card is really good.
It is. It's really good. I just can't find a way to squeeze in the deck I have
Yeah.
for the build for Maelstrom at least. And speaking
I'm
of
not
Maelstrom,
familiar with the build now, so but yeah.
so I actually been testing Maelstrom, but yeah, so we can kind of go through, right? So Maelstrom is really good, right? My personal opinion. So you're definitely gonna run this as a main 3. If you have a rear guard or in the soul, if you have the regular Maelstrom, this gets all the ability as a regular Maelstrom, and all your front row gets power for each of the order card that you play for Aquaforce. So basically, if you play the first order, it's a guaranteed half Persona ride. If you have the second order, that's a most likely you're gonna Persona ride. So it's a Persona ride and another one in the front row, and it's a continuous ability. So if you swap with the other cards, the power maintains, just like
Right.
Persona riding. So this card is really good just for that first effect.
Mm-hmm.
The secondary effect is really good too. When a regular Maelstrom attacks the Vanguard, it gets a +5 automatically. And then if it's the fourth or more battle, you get to draw a card and then choose one of your opponents and retire. So if you have 2 Maelstroms on board and if it's more than your fourth attack on both attacks, you get to draw for each one.
That's really good.
That's really good. I think this card is really underrated. But lastly, as you know, it's glory, so it has to have some kind of guard restrict, right? So when a
Yep.
Maelstrom card, it can be the regular one or the glory, when it attacks, rest 2 of the order cards. Choose one of your opponent. Your opponent can't guard with Sentinels until end of that battle.
So essentially, if they don't have Sanctitude, they're in for a bad time.
Yeah, or like let's say you swing with your Vanguard and decided like not to use the skill, and you still have a Maelstrom alive. You go OT, power on Maelstrom. They can't use the perfect guard on that last attack. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So I think this card, like just by the abilities, is really good.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
I
Yeah,
was
I agree.
yeah. So this is a deck I've been personally testing a lot because this is a deck I do want to play when it comes out. So this card's really good. But there's a card that really that supports it as a double rare. That actually searches for the order or a Maelstrom card. So that actually helps the deck a lot.
The grade 1, right?
The grade 2.
Oh, the grade 2. Okay.
It's a place, and then you can activate top, or you can look at top 7 to search. It's really good.
Oh, it's that guy,
And
tier
it's a
knight.
double rare too. Such a strong double rare card.
How many of the Blue Star Armadas are you gonna play?
3.
Not
You
the
don't
fourth one, so you can do it
you will
again?
never get to the 4th one. You're killing your opponent before you hit the 4th one, or you die
Gotcha.
before it. Because that's just how the meta works right now.
Yeah.
In 25 minutes, there's no way you're gonna play the 4th one within 25 minutes.
Agreed.
Okay,
I also
so
do like.
mhm.
I do like the grade 2. Also has the ability to swap
Yes.
positions.
What's the old card that did that? Basil.
It was that grade 1. What was its name? It was
Wheel
like
Assault.
Wheel
Yeah,
Assault.
Will Salt. So by the way, once again, me and Simon are very different. So Simon likes to run full titles and just boost up glory. I like to do the continuous attack and just go ahead and use wheel salt to create the expert attack. So we have different purposes on our decks. So title, when you attack with it, you get to soul blast and give the main Vanguard +5. Wheel salt, as you know, like you soul blast and you swap cards. So for me, I value the more multi attack, personally. But Simon wants to just crit the opponent.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, so different builds for it. So something that you guys can consider.
I mean, I remember back in the OG days when Glory came out for the first time. It was weird because like Glory didn't necessarily fit into the whole strategy of Aquaforce necessarily, and he kind of acted more as a splash-in card.
Yeah.
So it's kind of reminiscent now to where you don't necessarily have to change. You can change the entire deck to revolve around Glory, but you don't have to. You could still stick to the old strategy with Glory splashed in as another way to kind of
Yep.
close out the game. So I like that they kind of maintained that integrity
Yeah.
with that design for Glory.
But I think they actually made it better because you can actually use that on the rear guard too. If you have a regular Maelstrom on the rear guard. So it definitely is a huge improvement. And as you know,
correct.
for those of you guys don't know, Maelstrom is always going to get support no matter what format. Because CEO's favorite deck, Maelstrom.
Yep. Well, yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
Aquaforce. Yeah, that's his main. So actually, now since we're all Dark State players, who wants to talk about Cronus Command?
Ooh, I got something. I love that we can just add 4 of this in our G zone, and it's essentially
Well, you want to read the effect actually? Some people might follow, but we
sure,
can.
sure.
It's a
I can do
podcast.
that. So it is GB3, so you're gonna have to stride the second time, but it's worth it because Counterblast 1, your opponent puts all of their rear guards on the bottom of the deck in any order. So
That's cooking.
you just field wipe them.
And
then
it keeps the rear guards out of the drop zone, which is key.
that's right. And since it's non-targeting, it gets around like resist if that's still a thing. And then
It
you
does
choose
not
one of
avoid
your rear
Angel Ladder,
guards.
though.
Yeah, Angel Ladder, it doesn't avoid it, but that's fine. So you choose one of your rear guards, and it gets, at the end of battle, this attacked. Put this to the bottom, search your deck for up to 1 unit, grade +1, and then you call it, and then +5 for each face-up Chronos command in your G zone.
Yeah.
So
You will run 4 of
in a
these
way,
as a flip target.
for Fate Rider, basically,
Yeah.
I think the more harsher criticism that people will refer this to is like it's a worse Fate Rider. But my opinion on this card is that I don't see that as a bad thing because you're still able to maintain the integrity of a 4 attack pattern for your turn. So you're not like necessarily here. You are gonna have lower power, you are gonna have 1 less card flipped over to help add to the overall like stride crest power, but to have that option to board wipe your opponent is huge, especially there are decks where if you can just board wipe them mid-game, where you're most prominent anyway with GB3, when you're able to board wipe them, you're putting them in such a bad crippling position, and you're
Yes.
still hitting them with 4 attacks, and you
Yes.
still have triple drive. So,
This card is
and
really strong.
like people have to understand, and what people have to understand also is sometimes the value of a card is just the fact is the mere threat of the card, right? So like if you're playing against any deck that you know has an easy way to remove important cards from your board, you may be very hesitant as the opposing player to play those important cards early on if you don't have an immediate way to get it back. And as I mentioned earlier with Chris when he was reading the ability, the fact is that also it bottom decks the cards, and a lot of decks right now, King Levy, like Stoikea overall, a lot of Dark States, even like Reziel, out of all things, they utilize the drop zone. Night Rose utilizes the drop zone. So you have a lot of decks in the meta that utilize their drop zone. So being able to put their cards away out of reach and it's at the bottom of their deck is huge. Like, it is a really good card. Is it going to be a game breaking card if you play you win? No, but that's not the point of this card. The fact is that it can alter the way people approach you. They're not going to approach you comfortably anymore and overcommit early without being punished. So this card is really good. So you could maintain your 4 attack turn with a little bit less power but a board wipe, or you could just go into Fate Rider, and then Fate Rider will just keep flipping this card, and you'll be fine. And the fact that it doesn't require a flip as well just means that you still have space to run next stage and 4 of these Cardinals commands, because you're only going to next stage 1 time per game realistically anyway.
Yeah, you're only playing one next stage.
Yeah.
Wait, one?
Or 2. 2 next stages.
I thought there was no limit on the G zone where you can just play 16.
What?
No,
I thought it was 8. I thought it was an 8
It
limit.
is
No, I
8.
thought it was 8, and then I was told, Jonathan told me it was like, no, it's
Oh.
never limited to 8. You can just play 4 copies as well as the 4 Fate Riders and 4 next stage, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know that. I guess
Oh,
because there
I might
weren't
have
that
to
many
relook.
choices. It may be
I'm gonna
because
have to
there weren't.
look up the ruling again.
Well, it's just because there
Not
weren't
ruling,
there
but
weren't
it wasn't.
16 options to run.
Oh,
So
I mean that's fair too.
Yeah, because like we only because when the stride decks came out, there was only 4 strides and 8 cards total. So people said it was 8, but there was no official ruling on limit. Well, besides for premium, which is 16.
yeah, we could
That's
get
fair.
clarification on that. But nonetheless, you're not going to be assuming. Let's just say, whether it's 8 limit or 16, whatever, it's fine. It's not going to be interfering it with your ratios, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
You're
Yeah.
still gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, but I like the Kronos command a lot. I think it's good.
So it's funny, this card itself doesn't really change anything in the deck except for the scribes. But
Nope,
it
just
over
gives you options.
yeah, but this is a huge +1 to the deck.
Yep.
Like this will instantly probably make it one of the strongest decks in the format. Because it has the option now to kill it's like one of its like worst matchup, which is like rushing to it. So
It
this,
has an answer.
yeah, it has an answer finally. So this is a really good card. Like especially like decks that don't play Angel Ladder, you might have to start playing Angel Ladder.
Well, Angel Ladder is just a one of. I mean, you deal with it. I mean, it's the same thing when you face any deck, like even like with Varga, like you have to selectively know, how much to commit, how much to leave yourself so that you can still have a play next turn, or when do you want to gamble. Like you can still play around it. I don't think it's like that game breaking, but it gives you better play options
Yeah,
and just
it's not
having
simple as before to play against Gears now. Like now you have to actually think of the option that comes with it.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think it's a very good addition. I'm pretty sure
I agree.
Trans Alice is also going to be something like this to help the deck. So
I will say
yeah.
I will say this is way better than the original Kronos command from the first try, because that card was garbage.
It was garbage.
It was so bad.
So I know Gabe is excited to talk about this card. Want to talk about Doreen?
Yeah, Doreen. That's my
It's like Gabe's favorite
girl.
card.
I know, that's my girl, Doreen. Like, I'm coping the hardest that Amon's gonna come back. Like, I'm
Ooh.
telling you guys right now, I'm full sending my wallet on whoever has them. But I'm gonna build Amon again if Doreen comes back, or if Amon comes back, or just give me a reason to play DIs again. with the Doreen. I'm kind of annoyed that you can only play her with Lukier, and
At the moment.
yeah, but it makes no sense to bring these like OG cards back. You don't bring the other cards to come with it.
Yep.
So
I agree.
I'm on the Cope train right now. But yeah,
Give
no, I
me
love
give
her.
me Death Anchor, please.
Oh,
No, you have to wait. You have to wait your turn.
no.
Wait in line.
It's gonna be Amon or Reggie, but
Yeah. You're in the last car of the Cope train. So
yeah, it's either Amon or Reggie first. It's one of those depending on popularity.
Yeah.
But I think
maybe Reggie would be kind of funny.
well, the thing is, if it's Reggie, right? I have like there's ideal cards that they can print, and it'll be so much easier to print those cards. Versus Amon, it's like there is a couple cards you can print for Amon as well, but it's mostly like Doreen, and that one grade two that counterblast and retired something. That's really
Grim Reaper, or no,
yeah.
I say Grim Reaper, Gwyn the Ripper.
And then Amon, like those are the three ideal cards for that. But Reggie has like what the greedy hand that's like really popular at the time, and the chariots and everything that comes with it. So it's so much easier as a
No,
production
those
to
cards
do
are
that.
no. Don't make those cards. Those cards are garbage.
In Zero, those are fantastic.
Yeah, but who cares? That's not a real game.
Damn, no, I enjoyed Zero.
No, it's not.
Stop.
It sucked.
But I was gonna say this card's amazing, right? I actually think this is the best one. Is this better than Glory? I think it's only better than. I think Glory's only better because you can use it right away. I feel like this card is amazing as an effect, but it's just the usability of this card is not there yet.
Which card again?
Doreen.
Oh yeah, Doreen. Yeah, like Doreen,
You can't use it with anything at the moment. Like you cannot use it with Lukier.
Lukier. I
Yeah,
know
Lukier.
it's so because the utility is so good. Like I'm really drooling at the mouth, thinking like if I could just play this in Blangdemeyer. But
Man, too bad you can't play this in premium. This card's amazing.
yeah, and the key thing is too with the +3, it's not just by soul charge compared to what is it?
Swirler.
Swirler. It's when a card is put into soul. And Doreen doubles up. She gets a soul charge from the top of the deck, and then you could get a card from the drop, which I think is huge.
You'll
Like
be
that
you'll
is
be
a
crazy not to
big
run
deal.
this with Swirler though. Just saying.
I mean, that would be pretty wild to run them both for sure. Or you may not even need the swirler. I don't know. It depends on the supports. But I think this card's really good. It's good, generic
So the one
ability.
key thing, right? With this card is that it's not the well, I don't wait, did you mention it? But it's not the power, it's not by soul charging, it's like anything that's just put into, right?
Correct.
Which
Yeah,
makes
just
this
anything.
card really good. Like this is a better swirler. Just because like potentially if I'm just an example. Um Blangdemeyer puts a lot of cards in the soul, right? This card's
Mhm.
amazing with Blangdemeyer if it didn't have the claim restriction.
Yes.
This
Well,
card would be
it does this
instant
because of
OP.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the fact is that it does get power from anything, and it inherently has a drop zone retrieval as well. That kind of tells me that if there was going to be later support, if they bring back DIs, they're going to basically give you a reason not to run Swirler, because they may provide other cards that add to the soul without actual soul charging. There'll be probably less of that, most likely. So Swirler could probably still be an option, but I think Doreen will end up just being um is by design just to replace the possible Swirlers you would originally play. I mean, or heck, if you could play both, I mean, sure, but
I was gonna play both.
you
Yeah,
could. It depends on future
honestly, if you
support.
have the space, yeah, you would run both.
Yeah, like if they do, as you said, bring back the ugly witching hour cards. I mean, Doreen would fit so well in that regard. So I guess it kind of depends too, because I can honestly see them going with if they ever bring out DI support, they could bring out that same concept of if you it was the witching hour, like if you have a copy of this
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah. The only
sold
reason why I think the
this.
Witching Hour would be really nice, right, is not because like they will print extra copies of it, like for that concept. I would use that as a ride line.
Well, I could see that as a as
Yeah,
the
that's
new
what I'm saying. Like for
witching
the
hour.
production purposes, I think it's perfect to bring in Reggie because of that purposes. Because then they have less ideas they have to spend.
Yeah, I mean, they could just create a witching hour ride line and then do the same type of effects.
Yeah. So definitely,
So
I think Doreen is my perspective the best card. That was well. Actually, no. I'm so sorry. I think the but Velocity Dragon's the best one.
yeah, well,
Still,
because we actually have a clear use for it.
exactly. And then the one after that is the Glory Maker, obviously.
Yeah, Glory Maker is really good. Doreen has a lot of potential, but we just don't know what could be coming up that could, where she contribute the best at. Like
Right, right.
there's Pale Moon, of course, but I mean, whatever. I don't care.
And as we are going,
Oh, can we talk about the
Yeah,
Fire Regalis?
yeah, let's go.
This thing is good.
This is this is really good.
Yeah, no, I like it.
It's good. It's generic, easy effect.
This cannot be played.
You just remove it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any
Drop.
sense.
You just remove it in the top 5. Yeah,
The
this
fact
is
it works from the drop as well, it means that it could be a discard target for riding. You can whiff technically and still draw, so it's not like ever dead for you. It's free. It's pretty much free. It doesn't like, and the fact is, I think the key is like, since you're not playing it, it doesn't count as an order play for your turn, so you can still play another order if I'm understanding this correctly.
Yes.
but
Yep.
you can only
Yeah.
still run this one.
It's one
Right,
up.
right.
Yeah, it's the
Like
one-up.
if you run like other orders and stuff, and because sometimes you have to pick and choose, for your turns. If you want
Yeah.
to play your Regalis piece or not, so you could just use it, and you don't have to worry about like interfering with your other order plays for your turn.
So I don't
It's a
know if
good
anyone
discard
knows the
target.
ruling on this, right? So question for the guys that's been playing for a while.
No, it says this card cannot be played, so you're
No,
not
no,
playing
no.
it. You're just
So
Wait,
I'm
which one?
curious, right? So
but
well, it's being removed. Never mind. I was gonna say I would play this with Zorga, but I
You
don't.
can actually, yeah.
Would it trigger Alchemagic though? Because it's not being played.
No, it's an act, so you could play it first, and then you could do your Alchemagic stuff later.
But I would
are you
still have
trying
to
to
play a
target
regular
Mistral?
order to Alchemagic.
Correct.
Okay, then yeah. But this is another order I can play, so yeah, this is not bad.
Like it's just a good alternative option. It's just
Yeah.
because sometimes with their Gauss pieces, like as far as the general like choices, like Caliburn, this is good. It's good all around, but I don't think it contributes to anything in particular. The cup is, the cup is cup just to ensure persona writing, but I think it's slowly getting phased out of people's decks because there's just better just for more particular options. Brace Angel Ladder is always a good splash in for anything. And then now there's Blitz Order options.
Caliber's the third option people run.
Yeah, and then like the Blitz orders like Union in the Sky and
Twin cast.
Twin Cast, yeah. So
Twin is huge right now. It's probably one of the best blitz orders to play right now.
yeah, I agree. But like Fire Regalis, like this one right here, it's a good generic one that can give a specific contribution to like almost any deck for the most part. That any deck that doesn't need to run Bracing Angel Ladder, Caliburn, or the other stuff, you could just run this.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, I know, I love this card. Yeah, I love this card.
Good.
I'm definitely picking up a few of these.
Nah,
It'll probably be the most expensive card in the set for
You
sure.
think so?
It's
Yeah.
generic. It's like it doesn't tie with a nation. It's just generic.
I have a feeling it's gonna be low cost first. Because remember, what's his name? Twin Cast was really cheap when it first came out.
But now it's expensive.
Yeah. So when
I
it comes
anticipate it
out,
being like $10.
yeah, when it comes out, just pick it up whatever the price, because it's gonna be the lowest price.
For sure.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I guess another thing we can talk about is one thing I really like that Bushiroad did. Not for us, unfortunately, but for Japan, right? So other than the main set, they're also giving set 6, like basically the new, like the trial decks. So they're reprinting the trial decks basically in this set.
Yeah.
You mean the
Like the extra cards for,
Yeah,
for
like the Gear
the
Chronicle and the
Messiah.
Messiahs. So technically, if you never invested in Messiahs and Gears and you want to play it now, this set is perfect for that. In Japan, not here. We're not sure about here.
But like yeah, if you guys never get the deck, you can actually try to pull it from the pack.
Because I was gonna
But
say
if
the
you
one nice thing is that in English, I don't know much about the situation in Japan, but like the Luard and the Shiranuis, instant sold out. Like, and people are reselling it for like triple the price,
yeah.
which is ridiculous. So this is really good what they're doing. Like these are the correct choices of reprinting, from my opinion.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I think I really appreciate what Bushiroad's doing to reprint these. It just changes the overall like investment in the game. So, really good choice. But yeah, I think that's kind of the set, and the set is actually coming out this Friday in Japan.
Really, we also were 2 cards.
Hmm?
The 2 cards I'm talking about are the characters from Dear Days. The new Grace and Farinil.
Oh,
yeah, those.
oh,
those.
there's a new character, Kahare.
Yeah.
the upgraded forms? Yeah.
Yeah, the creative forms.
Good to know. Speaking of
So
Dear Days, I know like we're not gonna go too deep into this topic, but are you guys excited for Dear Days 2?
uh personally, not really, because how much money I wasted on the DLCs, but
But you can
I'll
get if you get the second version, can't you just oh no, this is only
no.
applied for the Switch.
Yeah, I
Ah,
bought it on the Switch, so that's kind of
I bought it
Yeah,
on the
I mean
Switch too.
you have to treat it like a console game basically. It's like, when people buy NBA 2K and Madden every single year and they just start over with all their BS. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I don't know how people do this.
I,
They're kind of like going the same thing, but no, with Dear Days,
It's nice because if you invested in Dear Days 1 and bought all the DLCs on your Switch, you can get those cards. It
yeah,
transfers.
it transfers,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure I remember correctly. They said like the new forms of Grace and Farinil are available on release, so we don't need to wait for set 6 stuff.
So, I mean, that's kind of good, right?
Yeah, I just
I'm
I
so
just hope it
happy
doesn't.
I got the hard copy of this Dear Days. Like, first time I have not regretted getting a hard copy of Dear Days.
Yeah.
I might pick
All
up
of us.
the physical edition to get the Japanese promos.
Yeah, that's a good idea with the promos. All I will say with Dear Days, it's like, I know it has a high entry point. It doesn't have cross platform, which makes no damn sense to me still.
Yeah,
I think there's a
I
missed
don't know
opportunity
why.
for everything. It's because the complication is that you have to find a developer who's willing to be your live service person, and that's complicated altogether, and it's very expensive to do versus just getting a developer who's willing to just make your game, but then they'll just make it as a console game rather than a live service game. Because remember, guys, Delightworks from Cardfight Online like 10 years ago, Delightworks, yeah, thanks, Fake Grand Order.
Yep.
They're like, yeah, we don't want to do this. We're just gonna focus on Fake Grand Order. So like, it's really hard to find a company, a developer willing to stick with you for a live service. 'Cause it's really harder than people would think. So you got to find someone on board with it who's capable of doing it. So I think with Dear Days, it's like it's good for people who may not have, because we're very grateful and spoiled that we have like 5 different locals that we can go to
Yeah,
within decent distance.
we
I can
are.
go to locals 4 times a week if I wanted. There's people who I've known, even on my own channel, like people talk about how they feel bad because they don't have a locals in their area. Like they don't have a way to really play Vanguard meaningfully. So it's like
Yep,
this would be a good way for people to play Vanguard.
Pretty sure different fight like point out the same reason. Like when he talked about Dear Days 2. Like he's like
Yeah.
this is like meant for people like who doesn't can go to locals normally.
Yeah. And like you can test, and it's a nice simulator where you can pay to have all the decks on your on
Yep.
your because
Like
sometimes you could buy a deck, because sometimes you could buy a deck, but then you'll spend like what $200+, but then you'll only play like 2 locals. You're like, I'm bored of this, and then you have to try and sell it.
Yeah, I
Whereas
mean
you know,
that's
you have
actually
to,
true.
yeah,
Like if you think
Yeah.
about it, like
yeah, like you have to get out of your system. Because what I always say is like sometimes on a whim you impulsively want to build decks. I know I had that problem years ago, and then you realize like either deck is not for you or you get bored after like 3 locals, and then you have to try and sell it and whatever. But I think sometimes it's like when you have those impulsive urges to build decks, it's just nice to just have a way that you can just kind of go on, play it, get it out of your system, and have meaningful games with people, which should be, if that's satisfying enough for you, then that's it. Done. So, like I always said Vanguard should have a digital a way to consume it digitally, because that's just how you really expand the game. Yu-Gi-Oh's done that. Shadowverse before it became Evolved, that's how Shadowverse made its name. That's
yeah.
plenty of other games. Pokemon is expanding even further with Pokemon TCG Pocket. So I think there's definitely more that they could probably look into to help expand the game further. Deer Days is just a good option out there for those who don't have a locals and don't have access to decks, or sometimes you just don't have people to play with. So like I know a lot of people are trashing it, and I'm not 100% on it, but I just want to at least put that out there so people can at least see a different perspective on this. Like there are some positives to this, and there are some positives to this. I don't like the DLCs and some of the stuff, but whatever.
I
That's
mean,
just
you're
my old
investing the
man.
same money in.
That's my old man gamer stuff coming out. So I'm not gonna brain rot you guys with that.
I mean, like the amount of pay for DLC is like, I'm not gonna pay for an actual deck, but I just hope the DLC releases like aren't too far apart from what they did in Deer Days 1.
As long as they manage it properly, I mean that's really the main thing.
Like,
don't
I
just
feel,
like play it, make it and forget it.
yeah, I find like it's been like what, like 2 or 3 months apart from the last DLC. Like, if it can make us wait like a whole year just to wait for another DLC. That's gonna take me off.
Yeah, well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. At least we're getting front loaded a lot of good stuff to enjoy.
And I was gonna say, picking up Deer. So there is another plus to picking up Deer Days 2. As Anthony mentioned, the cards that are coming out for it, they are an amazing proxy card for us.
Yeah.
They're using different alternate artworks for staple cards that we need. So if I remember, one of them is the one that searches grade 3s. What's the name? It's not in my
Or
head.
Forbidal?
Yeah, one of them's
Oh, yeah,
reprinting
Forbidal.
Forbidal. And then
I know one of the Holy is the Grail.
yeah, one of them's a Grail, which is a staple card, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there was one more. What was the
Racing
other?
Angel Ladder.
Yeah, and Angel
Angel
Ladder. Yeah, those are all good cards that you can use. So I'm glad that Deer Days is actually doing something smart,
I agree.
because they're actual promos that's really good, and you can use them as proxies worst case.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyone getting a hard copy, I will make a post of my ID or my friend code, and you guys can add me and we can play. I will be more than happy to play you guys on Switch version.
I'm getting on PC, so.
And he's gonna be streaming on PC, so it's another person you guys can play fights and ask him for fights.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Edition. Maybe stream it one day.
But I think this is a very good wrapping point. So
really?
Chris
They revealed the Funa cards.
Yep. I saw that. For Chris and Anthony, what did you guys think of the podcast? I know it's your first time. You guys did really well on the podcast with us.
I'd say the podcast is really chill. Like, I didn't notice the time went by really fast as we were discussing.
It's just yapping among friends. That's all it is.
Yeah, we're just talking
just
about
like locals.
We just gotta know our stuff. We just gotta know our stuff. That's the difference.
No, we don't.
Mm-hmm.
None of us here know what we're talking about.
I was gonna say, I never knew what I was talking about, actually.
We're just yapping fools, that's all.
We got our degrees in yapology, so
let's go.
as the young kids would say.
Yes. What did you think, Anthony? Because I know you want to create content in the future, right?
Yeah, this is the podcast was fun. Like, it kind of motivates me to create content again eventually in
Yeah.
the future. But like for now, I'm just gonna hold back on creating content. But
Yeah,
uh,
comment, rate, subscribe to Anthony's future channel.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe when I become a VTuber again.
Oh,
let's go.
speaking of,
So,
yes, I think it's a good time to wrap up. Let's do our shout outs that we usually do. If so, for you guys that don't know, we usually do shout outs at the end, like for locals, personal YouTubers, VTubers, whatever you support, on the channel. So I will go last as always. How about we start with Anthony and then Chris and then Gabe and then I'll finish off.
yeah, spot here. Um, I guess shout out to my idol Mikaneko.
Ooh. You can do
And
more. You don't have to say at one. If you have
No, he
50,
has
you can
only
name all
one
50.
Oshi. He only has one Oshi. If he
I
says
have one
anyone
true
else,
Oshi only, but
if he says anyone else, that's cheating. And then
Ah, okay.
I guess shout out to my main sponsor Calvin. Thanks for not making me.
No,
Calvin's
you're
like
Thanks for your
everyone's
support.
sponsor. What are you talking about?
Hey, his main sponsors me though.
Oh, fair, fair.
Yeah.
And I guess shout out to David for inviting me to this, like introducing me to the whole group in general. Because when I came back, I I had no clue how to make friends or anything. But David's the one who coached me and invited me to the group to meet everybody here.
And he still calls me
Yay.
coach to this day.
Hey, coach is coach.
Coolios.
Chris, any you want to do any shout outs?
let's see.
You can do your cosplay people too if you want. Not that anyone watches or listens to this, but
I'll give a shout out to Domino Paris 21 and Iamvanguard's 2014
God.
award show. You know.
No,
What the
stop. People,
I got
fuck?
no, people are gonna
So
look for
old.
it. Stop.
And
Yeah,
any
that's
new
true.
players that join in, because respect for trying out new things.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they're done. You want to go, Gabe?
Same shout out to the usual locals. Curios. Trying to think. Curios and just Boba Hero, all in Northern Virginia area. Come stop by. If you guys are ever in the area, and just shout outs to just all the entire Vanguard community. Just I put up a few deck profiles on my channel, just trying to slowly get back into things. We still got to record matches, but
Yeah,
that'll be another thing.
we'll definitely need to find the time for that.
Yeah, we'll figure it. But anywho, but yeah, just shout outs to just all the listeners out there, just coming in, chilling, talking Vanguard with us. Don't be shy, speak up. Share your thoughts and opinions on everything. And that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I was gonna give a shout out to Domino Pairs 21, but it seems like we're doing it like 3 times, so make sure
Jeez.
you guys I'm gonna have a
Who's
link.
fucking
Well, you just
the
started
hell
your
is he?
you restarted your channel,
Who's
so I was
he?
gonna
I
give
don't
you
know first 21. I don't know who that is.
okay.
Maybe.
But yeah,
So he's a new Vanguard tuber. He's a VTuber. We're VTubers.
this
As in
is true.
Vanguard.
We are VTubers in a way.
Yeah, we're VTubers.
VTuber simp.
But yeah, like he said, he actually recently posted some videos. I'll actually have the link down below so you guys can take a look at his channel. And I always do have it on my main page, so you are welcome to look at the people I follow and I subscribe to. Shout outs to the nice Doreen artwork, FFR. Amazing artwork.
It looks really good.
And then shout outs to people at our locals, people at Boba Hero, Curio Caverns, and then Anime TCG in Woodbridge. Also shout outs to locals in Maryland, which is really close to us, which is in Greedy Goblins in Maryland, and then Superstar in Goblin, that's ran by Justin. So make sure you guys check those stores out. And that's pretty much it. All right,
Yeah.
so next week's topic, I don't have anything in mind yet, but you guys will see it in the title next week. So, actually,
Thank you all the listeners.
yeah, and then we actually, all of us are going to Philly soon, so you guys will, I think, actually, yeah, we should be in Philly not next week, but the week after. So that's
Yeah.
probably going to be the podcast topic in 2 weeks.
We're gonna see how
Uh,
we all X2 dropped. Or O2.
X2
X
drop. I'm gonna go
or
X4.
O2. Or all
Hopefully
defeated.
I
We
can
will
go.
go all defeated.
Yeah, I'll go double loss every single game.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, hopefully I can go. If not, I just disappeared like like literally the following week.
Damn. All right, guys. We're ending up the podcast. Thank you for listening. Bye, guys.
Jan and
Yeah.
Mina.
And